Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Starlight Observatory. This time, everyone is moving.
We made it.
Yeah, we're here. We're here for a new book club discussion for a potentially controversial, very short book. This is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. Gosh. I'm gonna get into what the book, well, we can all get into what the book is about in a minute, but I would like my friends Toto Hex and Realm to, I don't know, introduce themselves as they always do, because it's funny. It's fun for me.
Dr. Toto Hex, the smartest science turtle. Hirosho Nain-chan. Hello.
Very nice. Hello, everybody. My name is Realm, professor and guide to the stars, local romance, I think, enjoyer. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, if I listen enough, then I'll be able to memorize your intro lines. But yeah,
so you can puppet me again sometime, right?
Yes. That was really fun. And honestly, I wish that I had remembered that we had done that while I was sick, because I would have just let you puppet me.
I mean, I can still do that even if you're not sick.
That's true. We could just do it anyway.
We can all see each other.
Yeah. Take turns.
Realm can be me. I can be Trips. Trips can be... Wait. Huh? Wait.
I would be Toto. Wait, no.
I'll be Trips.
I'll be Trips. Trips can be Realm.
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, wait, no, that doesn't work.
Oh, no,
it does work.
No. Okay.
Everyone puppets, then it's just it's puppets all the way down.
All puppets.
Yep. Oh gosh. But yeah, so I have a few facts and fun things to say about the book. I'll give the synopsis and then we can talk about what we think actually happened. The synopsis is there's two time-traveling agents from warring futures working their way through the past. There's the garden people and the agency people. Yeah, and two people on each side of the factions, red and blue as they're referred to. They begin to exchange letters in really fantastical ways and they fall in love with each other. And stuff happens from there. Yeah. But not a lot. A lot of it's letters, just letters. And finding the letters, right?
Yes, and then it very quickly became more than letters and more than feuding people, and just a crazy jump would certainly be a good way to say it.
It was like Steins Gate rules of time travel, if you've ever seen that, where they're basically hopping through parallel time realities, parallel universes, and just leaving messages for the other person to find. Predicting where they will be next, and then or telling them where they will find the next message, and then they kind of just wait around until they find it.
Yeah, they kind of just wait around.
Yeah, and we just see the moment where we kind of get a little bit of the setting of where they are, and then we see them find the letter.
Yeah. So this is written by two authors. Yeah, Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. They're just they met each other, I guess, at a book conference, and we're wow, let's hang out. And I guess they would write letters to each other, and then they eventually decided to make it into a book. That's not unlike what they're... I don't think they were writing letters like what the letters they wrote, but maybe I'm wrong. And so Amal El Motar mostly wrote the blue parts. They would write the letters, and then the other side would write what led up to them finding a letter that the content was about. I guess
that explains a lot of my criticism, actually.
Yeah, it does explain a lot. Yeah, they would write blue would write a letter, then the red author would write what led up to red finding that letter. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I guess as a brief synopsis, it's only 200 pages. I guess I gave the the blurb synopsis, but
I think Red is working for the more technology future side. They basically want to send Red back in time to change a bunch of stuff so that people use more math and learn math faster, so that they reach the predestined future of ultimate math and technology faster. And Blue is more from the magic side. She's being sent by Garden to go Like, so red is sent by Commandant, blue is sent by Garden to try and make like a magic future happen instead. And they're warring with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all throughout time and multiple realities, I guess.
Honestly, it doesn't make much sense. Like, just stay in your own realities, right?
You're right, though. Like, why would they try to alter the whole
If all
thing?
these parallel universes exist, then why don't you just stay in your own parallel universe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I assume.
Well, you know, Sorry, you go first.
Oh no, you go ahead. It's fine.
Okay, I assume only because they didn't mention it. They didn't mention the circumstances of each organization. We just know for a fact they want to create the future that they proclaim like dominance over. So you don't know why they're doing it per se. Like, of course they they know why. You just don't know like what motivates them to really like actually attempt to do this. Like, is humanity on the brink of extinction? Is this like post-apocalyptic? You know, like, is it purely motivated by like greediness, or is there like a legitimate reason that they have to go back and change it? Like, where do their morals lie
Yeah.
to why they're doing it? You know, like, and even if one person is quote unquote bad, perhaps this whole instance of Garden versus that other organization happened because one person recognized what the other was doing and was just like, no, we have to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like you don't really know exactly why these two came to exist to do this specifically.
And it's like they're not the only agents. There's other agents they send too.
Yeah, there's lots of
And
other
then
agents.
by the end, it was like, what's the point? Because, okay, I guess I'll spoil it. Like, Red
No,
goes
it's okay.
back in time. Like, Red ends up being forced to poison Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Blue takes the poison because she knows if she doesn't, then Red will get in trouble and get herself killed.
Yeah.
And Red goes back in time to when, like, Blue was born. Or not born, but, like, when Blue was, like, a child. And then gave her
Yeah.
the antidote.
Yeah. So she could live.
So she could live through the poison and actually survive. So it was like, if you can go that far back in time to just like
Yeah.
do all this, then what's the point? If anything, you could just
I
go back to
know.
the very start and then just like fuck everything up. But
I
I
know.
guess that's why they're time warring, right? Because the other people are going back in time too.
Yeah, they're going way back to do.
Yeah,
I guess.
I
It's
guess.
interesting. Yeah, there came a point at the very end where I was like, this feels weird, like how like and like unsatisfying a little bit, like how what's that stupid movie that everyone was obsessed with?
Groundhog Day.
No, not
Is it
Groundhog
Looper?
Day. No, it's not a time travel one. It's the
Oh,
Inception.
Inception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like it
Well
sounds
then.
a lot deeper than it really is.
Yeah, it sounds a lot deeper than it is. Yeah. And I guess to me, like, you could say that it's just pretentious, but I think the point that the authors were like doing the two writing things was it was more like a writing exercise for them. And then it got published. And I'm like, it's totally cool as like a writing exercise because you can tell that Blue is like, I personally could tell that Blue was all like a poet as well. The girl that wrote Blue. But Red, I don't know. Red was better at like explaining like the surroundings a little bit, in my opinion.
Red
Or at least-
felt more like straightforward.
Yeah, more straightforward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we basically said the whole plot. They send letters to each other. They find the letters, and then they fall in love, and then Red gets told to kill.
See,
Thing,
that's
and then they go
my
back to
issues with the
place,
book.
yeah.
It's like where they end up going in time really has no influence on the plot at all. You know,
It doesn't. You're right.
it
It's
doesn't even fit the
interesting.
themes of like what they're saying. It's just kind of like, hey, we're with Genghis Khan right now, and I found a letter. Hey, I'm like with the dinosaurs, and I found a letter.
It's
Hey, I'm
true.
in like the lost city of Atlantis. Hey, I'm in like Magic World. Hey, I'm like
It's-
a giant spider wolf thing destroying
It's like a
giant
giant game of
monster.
like, oh, you can do this, like hold my beer, I can do one better.
I can do one better.
Yeah, it was like finding an Easter egg. It was like they're playing different video games and finding Easter eggs the other left for them or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Something.
wonder because like Blue writes about Atlantis and then Red goes to Atlantis. I wonder why they chose the myths that they picked to highlight and like
Yeah.
Why
it
does it
didn't,
recur?
Like, feel like it fit with any of the themes.
Yeah.
Other than it was just something to talk about.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of, at some point, there comes a lot of witty language towards the end, where, like, Blue is, like, she likes watching Shakespeare, but she doesn't know if Romeo and Juliet is, like, a tragedy or a comedy in this world, and she won't see the end, and then she dies, and oh my goodness. But yeah, it's supposed to be really dramatic.
Yeah.
Which I suppose it is. But, I don't know.
I did like a lot of the prose though. It was written well. I just don't
Yes.
understand why. Like,
Why?
why did it go there? But like,
True.
how it was written was very good.
It's
I enjoyed a lot of the prose.
It's funny. So I've had this book recommended to me a lot, and so I was like, I'm just gonna pick it. We're just gonna read it now. Otherwise, I may not ever read it. And I'm like, well, at least I mean, I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I didn't
No,
hate
it
it
certainly
either.
it wasn't bad by any stretch. It just left with a lot of questions.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and even getting to understand it, it took. So I'm assuming Toto, you also listened to audiobook.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was about a 4-hour audiobook, maybe 3:45 if you sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
It took me 2 hours of the 4 to actually understand what was going on, because slowly but surely, even the idea that there was time travel, it didn't. I'm not saying it didn't come up. It's just it didn't come through clearly
Yeah,
at all
'cause we
until.
didn't see, you don't really see them travel through time. You just see them when they're there. Like
Right,
they're
they're just
there in
there.
a different time already, and then they have to give a new setting.
Yeah, because it was just a clean jump per chapter of just
Mhm.
like of let's see, Red going to like London to do whatever she needed to do. Ends thing. The icebergs here are quite interesting. I mean, wait, you're jumping to icebergs now, like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it just after a while, like, oh, then it's somebody else's. And
it's
then
hard too because it jumped to a different time and a different perspective because it keeps switching between Red and Blue's POVs.
Right.
Mhm.
It does.
And then then there's like a certain point where Red calls Blue Dear Indigo. And then like at that point in the story, it wasn't really clear that they were at that familiar place to give nicknames like this.
No,
Oh,
I
no,
think
they
they.
pretty sure at
giving
that
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'm
they were
pretty sure
just
at that point,
flirting,
Red.
to be honest.
Yeah.
No, Blue called Red cochineal like earlier,
Mhm.
which if you didn't pick up is like a red bug that they use for dye.
Mm-hmm.
So they were already giving each other nicknames by like the second or third letters. I know because I read it twice. I had to go back
I
and
read it
like,
twice.
reread the whole thing.
Well, at that point,
Yeah.
if you're saying it was like the second or third letter, but like at the first or second letter, we were learning that Red was learning how to write letters, and then all of a sudden they're given nicknames. Like it just gave no clear
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
transition
Yeah,
that
that's
she would
true.
know automatically. Let's give my pen pal. Like she wouldn't know what a pen pal is. It's more just corresponding writer. Like she's still like programmed in a way where she's trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another problem with this book is that their relationship,
Mm-hmm.
while kind of cute at a lot of places, felt kind of forced. Like it didn't really feel like it's supposed to be like enemies to lovers, but it didn't really feel like they had really like good
Yeah.
chemistry other than we both want to drink tea and like touch each other and spend time together.
Yeah.
It still didn't really like
Yeah.
no.
I think they're lonely, and they're the only people that they really talk to that understand what they're going through, so they fell in love
Yeah.
very quickly. But I also think they took the whole falling in love quickly but is it for real thing, because they reference Romeo and Juliet 5,000 million times, so I feel like it's supposed to be like that. Like it's supposed to be like, are they really in love, or is this just infatuation because they don't have anybody else? Yeah.
And is the other side like secretly trying to destroy them and just baiting them into a false sense of security?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of like weird pop culture references throughout it. I don't know. Did you like any of them, or did any stand out to you? I mean, Romeo and Juliet's one
I
major.
think they
one,
were
but-
used kind of inconsistently.
Yeah.
Like it I was already trying to understand like Red and Blue's different developing voices.
Mm-hmm.
And they throw in random slang while like otherwise sounding like really pretentious and poetic. Like
Yeah.
it's like kind of jarring.
I found recently in the sci-fi that I've been reading this year alone, it's happening a lot. I don't know why. It's like a thing now, putting in modern slang, but then using like really beautiful prose otherwise, and it just sounds weird to me. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Trying to be hip with the cool kids, you know?
Yeah,
You
as
say,
people
dog,
would
like...
say, what they say in the book. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, gotta throw some shade, as the prophets would say, or
Just
something
as
like
the
that.
prophets would say.
I was like, what?
I would say my favorite sort of like transition to like the historical side of this whole time travel thing was when they wrote a letter to each other about learning the values of life, or like, you know, I think it was Red to Blue. Red's letter to Blue, reading it, that she had learned to be very like to understand and like, I don't know, become clear with herself when she was traveling back and she visited Socrates.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why this particularly stuck out. I think maybe I was on a walk and like it all kind of like meshed in very well. But she was like, "Huh, Socrates? Did I ever meet a Socrates?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Mm-hmm.
That they're sort of like colliding, but and at that point I was a little confused. But I don't know. I like the fact that particular scene. So they were developing, like, they're starting to crack molds in the ideas of like what they were brought up as. Like Red was like a cold killing machine. Blue is also in a crazy organization, but Blue already had like a romanticized way of going about things. But Red, like slowly but surely, you could start seeing holes in her.
Yeah, but
like persona.
Was Blue all romanticized because Red had secretly like inserted that antidote / poison into her at the very beginning of her life?
Yeah.
It's like that loophole.
True.
It also makes it kind of weird because it's like, are they destined for each other, or did one of them like kind of like just program the other to be the perfect person for them?
That's true. Yeah, because Red goes through their entire relationship.
Yeah, and even has like a moment where they tackle themselves.
Yeah, they tackle themselves to like stop them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird, which is like something weird that like you wouldn't think that in that case wouldn't they just all have like a million clones of themselves traveling through time all at once? Like, I don't know.
That is true. It's like a total inconsistency. But I was like, you
Yeah,
know
I
what?
mean-
I'm just gonna ignore this part.
Yeah,
Time
I
travel is
think. Do
hard
you
to
guys want to
write.
mention those shadowy figures?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were called like Seekers.
Yeah, the Seeker.
I don't really understand.
Yeah. I think they just called it Seeker because they just were like, and then the Seeker destroyed the evidence of the letter.
Is it
or
like
whatever.
Looper, where like the previous version of you, or like the previous version of you gets rid of future you or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So that they technically never did that thing. They just
Yeah, no one could
can
find
read
it.
the letter without actually like
Right,
reading the
because
evidence.
theoretically, at the scene where Red was with the dinosaurs and could have been killed any which way, you know, there were two instances of fighting, and yet like she lost, and yet she didn't get, you know, erased.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was that possibility.
Right. That is true.
And
Yeah.
Also, like, they just did some weird stuff, man. Like, Red is like some sort of robotic android like thing, and Blue is some sort of shape-shifting being.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Garden.
Like, Blue asks Red, like, "Hey, do you people eat?" Even though you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, program and stuff," and she's like, "Yeah, I guess I eat, but I
Yeah.
don't really need to be hungry, and like, I eat all sorts of stuff, like rocks and glass." No, wait a second, wait.
Yeah, I did like that.
Like,
Red was more interesting to me because she didn't really get like what being a human was, but she was still interacting with humans throughout time. So it's like, how did she conceal herself? I don't know.
It's like some sort of shape-shifting like skin or something.
Yeah.
They said like she could have grabbed the magma float, like erupting out of Atlantis, even though she has looks like she has human skin.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't actually have human skin.
Yeah.
It just looks like it. Yeah. That was funny. And yeah, like Garden is like super organic, shape-shifty people, so like Blue can just transform into like a spider. And yeah, it was weird. I think the one that sticks out to me is the letter I did not like, which was the letter that was like within the seal. like they had to open up like a literal like seal, like the animal
it was,
seal
carved into like a cod or something inside of the seal.
Yeah, I was like, ew.
Oh, it was so romantic. They left me a message in the entrails of an animal.
Ooh, yes, I must read the intestines. I was like, ew, God, I would never talk to her again.
She'll get left unread, 100%.
Yeah, because the rest of them I was like, okay, I get it. That's kind of cool. And that one I was like, that's just gross, bro.
Yeah, like tea leaves or like coated inside of like the leaves of a flower.
Yeah.
That one was gross.
Yeah, I was like, why though? I guess whatever, but
like this book just had a lot of cool ideas that didn't really mesh. It never, and you explaining how it was written with two authors kind of explains that. It's just like there's a lot of cool ideas here, but a lot of it don't thematically work together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, why seal entrails? Did that have anything to do with like what they were talking about in that letter, or was it just like completely random? You know?
Yeah. It's interesting because I watched an interview and I think I had this thought too, where it felt like knowing that they wrote the letters first and then the other author would go and write what led up to them finding the letter. It made me actually no, wait, hold on, I get it now. The reason why it's a seal is because they're talking about the etiquette book and needing to seal the letters, so she sealed the letter by putting it in a seal. I'm not saying it's smart, but I think that's what they were going for.
Hate that. I kind of like that.
It like just came to me. I was like, wait.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah, but no, what I was actually going to say, and then I just realized that was like, it kind of feel like they were trying to one-up each other, but they weren't actually trying to one-up each other, is what they said in the interview. I don't know if that's true.
I feel like in their wanting up each other, they ended up making the story like a little too convoluted and a little like, okay, I still related to the characters. I won't say the characters are completely unrelatable. That's untrue. But it was difficult to relate to the characters. By the end, and after reading it twice, I was like, I kind of get what they're going for.
Right.
But it's hard to read a book when you're not understanding where you are, when you are, and don't really care too much about the characters.
Right. Yeah, time travel is hard in that way, though, I think. Like, obviously there are pieces of media that do it really well, but I have found that, like, it's hard to humanize someone that's going back and forth. And how do you create someone that can do that without it, like, affecting their entire being? The thing is, it does affect Red and Blue, but because they're, like, they're not humans, they're, like, weird things that we can't really conceive. We're just supposed to, like, write it off, I guess.
Yeah. And, like, I get that the message is nice of, like, you know, there's love that it overcomes any boundary and any bounds, even time and space and dimensions.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not that deep of a message, though. It's not that deep, guys.
It's not that deep, no. No. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess you said that you thought that the love was forced. I guess how did you feel, Rem? Or like when did you think or realize that they were falling in love? I don't know. I guess I said it was sapphic, so I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but I didn't realize that at the time.
When they started doing like PSs and PPSs
Yeah.
and PPPSs and um I wouldn't I would my person I wouldn't say forced, but man, if the goal of this story was to show that they were as far as love is concerned mentally immature, then yeah, I would say they did a
Yeah.
great job. They just
Mhm.
like it reminded me of like a teenager's first love fling,
Mhm.
except the stakes are much higher. I can say that for certain, but
Like they were really good at their job and only their job.
yeah, then they just didn't have any idea what to do with themselves. Like, oh my god, it's like the trope in anime when like someone says like I want to hold your hand, you're like, oh my god, hold my hand.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
you're crazy. Straight to marriage.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
maybe
just-
force is the wrong word. Maybe it's more like contrived. It's like, yeah, you're
Sure,
right. They
yeah.
had the PS and stuff, and they were flirting with each other. But like, but what? Why?
How did it? Yeah, it didn't transition very.
Yeah, it didn't
naturally.
transition well. It's just
Yeah.
like they suddenly like started crushing on each other.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Like,
I think you're right, Realm. Yeah, it felt like middle schoolers suddenly liking each other. Ah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, despite all that, I still think that like the writing was really cool, and I did like how they were combining different. Like they were referencing each other, but doing a lot of neat things, I guess, with their writing. I also really like epistolary books, though. Epistolary means like written in letters.
yeah,
Oh, that's just I will automatically like it if there's letters, pretty
Oh
much.
yeah, when it came to like when it came to actions of describing each other in such ways, oh my god, like you could have romanced me. I was just, man, if someone writes me a letter like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
one way ticket. I'm over there. Like that was like that their strong suit. I'd say more than the scenes, more than like the action itself was just the level of creative writing.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like going to a fine restaurant and getting like a deconstructed cheeseburger. That's what it feels like in this book. Like it's beautiful to look at, and a lot of the prose and how it's done is beautiful. Like instead of melted American cheese, they use like a Parmesan wafer and pure Kobe beef, and instead of being ground, it is lightly massaged and sous vide.
Yeah, it's a cool experience, but I could have just had a cheeseburger. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
there's something I watched recently that talked about that. They just said, well, no, I understand that the point of a restaurant like that with portions yay small are to show or to accessorize and like emphasize how good the food is. That at the end of the day, you could have just gotten regular food and been full. You could have been like, oh my god, this is amazing, but now I'm still hungry. Now I want more. I'm not gonna pay to do it again. I could have just had the regular stuff and been full and been on my way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. But then there's the opposite argument of like, well, the regular stuff, it's never special then, you know?
Yeah.
You eat it every day. It's a normal thing. You never like talk about it. You're just like, oh yeah, I had a cheeseburger. But like
Yeah.
that one time you went to that fine dining restaurant, like that experience like lives with you, you know, even if you're not full.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that
I
does.
don't regret reading this book. It's just that this book was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I have other questions regarding the book, but that does bring up a good point in my brain. Like we read Legends and Lattes, and that is like I don't think there's any argument. It's written much more simply, but is it more enjoyable because I can just read it and there's a plot, and
That's true.
yeah, I don't know.
I did like Legends and Lattes, but I will say that the prose in Legends and Lattes was definitely lacking in some areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very like by the numbers, just like screenplay, like here's what happened.
Yeah, it's very, this is what happened. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having books like that. Just like I don't think there's anything wrong with having books like, this is how you lose the time war. But,
Do you
yeah.
have any excerpts from Time War that you really liked?
Look.
Oh.
There were a few lines that I really liked. See if I can find them. Unfortunately, I don't have a physical book. I just have an ebook. I'll have to scroll through.
I only have the audiobook, so.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, I'm looking up some quotes here.
There were some. Actually, I do have another question. I
want to emphasize, it's not like I hated this book.
Oh,
It's just a weird book.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's totally weird. I was like, after I read this, I was like, huh, this is the book I picked, huh? And I hadn't read it though, so how was I supposed to know?
Yes, sir.
Here's a quote. Okay. I want to be a body for you. I want to chase you, find you. I want to be eluded and teased and adored. I want to be defeated and victorious. I want you to cut me, sharpen me. I want to drink tea beside you in 10 years or 1,000. Flowers grow far away on a planet they'll call Cephalus. And these flowers bloom once a century. And the living star and black hole binary enter conjunction. I want to fix you a bouquet of them, gathered across 800,000 years, so you can draw our whole engagement in a single breath, all the ages we've shaped together.
Yes.
It's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
What the hell was
beautiful.
that about?
There's a lot of good, like, I don't know, maybe like poetic sounding one-liners, like, oh gosh, yeah, I have built a you within me, or you have, I wonder what of me there is in you. Yeah. I didn't say that very poetically, but yeah. Like, I want to go, what is it? I want to meet you in every place that I have loved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very romantic.
Yeah, it's very romanticized writing.
Yes.
But it is very Romeo and Juliet. Like, they also use very flowery writing in Romeo and Juliet, but is it that meaningful? Well, they're just teenagers falling in love and then they kill themselves.
Yeah.
So, like,
I also think, like, some of, like, the sharper writing, when Red is not writing a letter, like, when she's, like, sinking Atlantis and she's like, serves it right, good, I'm glad it's sinking.
Keep popping up in these different times.
Yeah, and then she just talks about how much she hates Atlantis.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck you, Atlantis.
You have a you. I have built a you in me as a euphemism for I am forgetting it.
I am Brigante.
Red and Blue also interact with their leaders separately, like, one time.
Yeah.
They're like the Commandant and the Garden. What did you think of them? And who would you rather deal with?
Honestly, Commandants seem kind of dumb. They're supposed to have, like, the access to all of their agents, but they just don't.
I know, the Commandant was like, whatever, you'll just do what I tell you to do. Like, they were not worried about it.
Well, they did torture Red.
They did, in the end, they did, yeah.
In the end, after they found out about the betrayal. But, like, they were pretty behind times. Like, they kind of did not know what was going on.
Yeah, no. I don't know.
Garden only seemed nice because they thought that Blue had been super successful and didn't know about anything also.
Yeah. Yeah. Garden to me somehow seemed like more slippery though. Like I didn't totally believe that they didn't know what was going on at the time anyway. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, to me, just given the fact that these organizations existed in, like, different times, even if they are fighting for the same objective, it felt like Blue was the precursor to Red's organization. So Blue reminded me of those movies in the 70s where you, like, see stuff from, like, the CIA or the FBI, like they're out there. They have lots of agents because their main source is going out and getting personal information. Like, this was the time before satellite imaging and all the advanced pieces of tech, and then, like, Red's organization is like the perfected future of Intel, like what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that reminded me of. So I'd say, if I think about it like that, I can see why Blue didn't have a complete grasp. Sorry, why Garden didn't have a complete grasp on Blue.
Right.
So I'm gonna say probably easier to deal with Garden. I mean, they also did abandon Blue at that time, but again, that reminds me of more primitive times. Like, they're super strict, they can't take any chances, so we're gonna lock you away, and if you survive, then you survive. Like, it's very old school thinking. Instead of
That's
if
true.
they were in the future, they would just say, oh, well, we could definitely just fix it. We could just give you like APs or put you in like a freeze or do any number of things that we raised you to be like an autoimmune machine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It was also interesting not being held at gunpoint. Oh god, I lost my train of thought. Oh, like they put like Blue gets placed into an area where she has to like stay there a long time and pretend to beat somebody to change the future or whatever. But she knows exactly what to do to make it so like the higher ups or the spies or whatever, they don't, that she looks like she's doing the right thing, even though she's secretly sending letters to her lover. And I guess Red does the same thing. So it feels like they're not really watching them. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what?
super freaky.
Also, I just feel like the story of like, you know, star-crossed lovers and stuff really works, and a lot of like the writing works. But it's also like, why did it have to be in a time war though? Like, what did that really add?
It's true, it didn't have
Sorry.
to be a time war. It could have just be like people that are falling through time. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure there were other stories about this kind of concept too, of like falling in love for someone from a different time.
Yes, yeah, I actually read something, a book earlier this year that was kind of similar to that, but it's like a full-ass book and it's only from one perspective, and I say that just because it's a novella.
Don't mind me. Don't mind all this stuff.
Oh, it's
I
fine,
think
you
I'm
could be
going to-
sparkly.
I can be sorry for a little bit.
Realm.
I was typing something separately. Let's see.
It's all
that one
good.
work? Maybe I'm just that excited. There you go.
That excited, yeah. And yeah, there's like the star-crossed lovers thing, but I think they did it a bit more compellingly. Now, I thought about picking that book, but I chose not to because it's actually really, really heavy. And I'm like, I don't know if we could discuss such heavy things on stream. But yeah, it was kind of like that, like the concept of like, if you time travel, will you fall in love with the same person type of thing? Yeah. Or are they fated to be, or are they not fated to be? And it's not really clear to me if there are other versions of themselves in different multiverses, though. The answer is yes, but also no.
I did enjoy that
God,
the time
again?
periods they went
My
to
God.
was not
Alright, I'm gonna stop doing the thing.
so Eurocentric, because they did go to like Asia. Yeah,
That's true.
like,
Yeah, they went and hung out
places.
with Genghis Khan.
yeah, the Ming Dynasty and like all these different places.
Yeah. Yeah, they did go all sorts of different places. They went to like the seafaring Incans. I thought that was neat because I couldn't tell that it was Inca, like the Incan Empire at first, till the very end. Okay, the one thing that bothers me, they go to Ohio like 6 times. Why?
What's in Ohio?
That's
Ohio is secretly the center of time travel,
That's my gripe with the book. I feel like it's because nothing ever happens in Ohio, but and so they like, I feel like Red and Blue think they can go to Ohio and like put letters somewhere in Ohio and no one will ever find it.
No one checks in Ohio. Are you kidding me? Throughout all time and space, Ohio is the most boring place.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like time began.
like,
Then LeBron James, and he left, and then there's nothing else. That's
It's
like,
literally-
it just stopped.
one of the chapters is literally Red going and being part of the stabbing party of Julius Caesar, and then she goes to Ohio.
You know, you just gotta have somewhere to hide out when after you stab Julius Caesar.
Yeah,
That's the one
after
thing
No one will
they'll never
suspect you
learn.
there.
After you went to the stabbing party. It's so weird. Oh. Yeah, I think I wrote notes, like everything. I wrote like what basically happened in each chapter. So I got that, but yeah, after I feel like in the second half of the book it just gets like it's not so much like they're traveling through time anymore. It's like there's like a slightly more structured plot, I guess, where they're called to go talk to their leaders and then they have to set out the plot to murder each other, or like Red has to murder Blue. I guess I don't know how much I believed like because Red had to like make the poison in the plant, but like I guess she made it a specific one that would be easily identifiable. But I wondered if like the people making it would be like, no, we shouldn't do that one because it's easily identifiable. But then they went along with it. I guess it doesn't matter in the end, but that part kind of bothered me, I guess.
Yeah, that they were kind of dumb. But I think the point was that they don't understand like art stuff.
Oh, okay.
The way Red does, and Red is more artsy now.
Yes.
And she knows that like if she makes this like super bright red, it'll look like, you know, like the like, poison dart frogs and whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I was on that. And I think she did also write something that like kind of like looked like taunt.
Oh,
at
yeah.
least.
Like, hey, come talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess
That's nice that like Blue teaching Red how to be more artistic like helped them escape from their like bosses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then like Red goes back in time and then is the reason that Blue got that like sort of hunger for like culture and stuff in the first place.
It's true.
So it's like a loop.
It's a loop.
It's a loop.
It is. It's a loop, and I think it's all right. An okay loop.
Yeah, it's not even a very complex loop. It's kind of a simple loop.
Yeah.
And it's not that deep.
Yeah, it's not.
Like it's like why? Why did it have to be time travel though? Like this could have been. Like I look forward to what else these writers write because their prose is excellent.
Yes.
This time travel stuff I think was just like extra flavor that didn't really need to be there.
Yeah.
Like gold foil on their cheeseburger. It looks really pretty and cool. But it doesn't add anything to the flavor.
These cheeseburgers will never escape our scrutiny to the end of time.
It's true. It is really nice, and I wonder.
Oh, listen, I want a deconstructed fine cheeseburger, but I'm just saying that's what it's like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry.
Like,
go ahead.
No. I think they said that like someone wanted the book to be published. Like I don't know if it would have actually been traditionally published if it wasn't like somebody in the publishing industry was just like, yeah, we have to have this one. It has to be published. Because it does kind of feel like it was just a fun project for two friends to write. And that's, I don't mind reading something like that, but it almost feels like maybe they needed to have it a little bit more edited, like structurally wise.
True.
Yeah.
Especially if you're writing with a friend, you can like always just explain to them what the hell's going on. And you have like your own like inside jokes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like when you lose that context and you're like a third party reading it, it becomes much more difficult.
Yeah.
That is often a weakness of like a lot of young writers too, especially writing like fan fiction or just like your first writings, is you know what the heck is going on. You know what the characters are supposed to be like. You have their personalities in your heads.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't do a good job of conveying that to the reader. So they're like, I think this character's an asshole. And you're like, well, I thought I wrote them as the hero.
Yeah.
You don't understand them. They just don't understand.
You just don't get it. Yeah.
I think we've all been in that position before. But
yeah.
This book was not that bad with that, but it's kind of like one of the reasons why it's a little hard to relate to
I
this
could
book.
definitely see that. That's just another like, oh, what's my source? Oh, just trust me, bro. Like I just know.
Just trust me, bro. Yeah. Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is
I
highly
really like the metaphors and similes.
Yeah, the metaphors and similes, and like I don't know, just the general prose was
Yeah.
pretty neat. I feel like that Blue, I think Blue, yeah, wrote a lot about like she wrote things like, gosh, it was more like your smallest actions could have big consequences. Like the things that I'm doing here will have big impact, and I think it sort of was making commentary on like you should be careful about what you do because you don't know who you're going to impact.
Yeah.
Like don't litter, things like that. But I don't know. I don't know. Because it was also just, I feel this way about novellas a lot. They're so short, so they only have so much time to get whatever message they're going to go across. So whenever I finish them, I always just am left with this like, oh, that was a book feeling until I let it really sink into my skin. Yeah.
It's also hard to relate to them because while the prose is beautiful, they don't talk like people, you know?
No, they don't.
It's not really humans either.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one quote I just found. It goes, I veer rhapsodic, my prose purples.
Yes, I actually really liked that though, because
I really like that because like purple prose is a thing when
Yes.
you like talk
It's-
too much.
yeah, purple prose is like this entire book. Like,
I know.
So at least it's self-aware.
And then I'm gonna use that like my prose purples.
My prose.
I love
purples.
that, but like, no one talks like that is the thing. Like I
It's
love
true.
it, but no one talks like it.
No one says that unless you're like, I don't know.
Unless you specifically read this book, I guess.
Yeah, unless
And
you're
now you got
blue,
your
I
insight.
guess. Or is it red? I don't know who said that. But
I think that's red. I think red was random.
yeah. Oh, and when you mix red and blue together, you get purple.
Aw.
Ba 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 ba.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think I'm just making that connection. Oh.
You'll never know. Add it to the list of questions.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend you go just read for the people in chat, go read like some excerpts from it
Yeah.
or some like some quotes from it because they are beautifully written, and if you really like them, then go read the whole book.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so as well. I think it's just nice.
Yeah.
Overall, because it's not a heavy read, and I liked that because the chapters are so tiny, and then it's like it's a chapter and then it splits into a letter. You can just read it in tiny little chunks, like on your breaks, if you want to. I don't always like books like that, but I don't know. They're like bathroom books to me. It's like I can read it while I'm taking a bathroom break, which isn't a bad thing. I don't mean to shit on the book. Or
Pun
but
intended,
yeah.
maybe?
I actually mean that as a good thing because sometimes I want that kind of a book. Yeah. Definitely GM. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is pretty much the whole book. Red makes a risky move that will have dire consequences. Things don't align perfectly. How many? That's the last question, presented by the Brooklyn Public Library.
Oh, I like this quote too. This is not even one of the weirder Atlantises. No crystals here, no flying cars, no perfect governments, no psychic powers. Those last two things don't exist anyway.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah. Also
sort
the
of thing
quote.
that's happening.
The quote about like, she's like, Red goes to Nazi Germany and she's like, yeah, there's like not zombies here, but they're not like dead or brought back to. It's weird. Don't worry about it. Like, what was that quote?
Like I said, like I think they had like too many ideas. Like that definitely could have been on like the editing room, like chopping board. Like, it's like why though?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
add anything.
Yeah, I do think a lot of it is just like supposed to be like, haha, that's weird, and then just move.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Well, anyway. Yeah, I guess that it is a reasonable discussion point. Like, did you expect Red to go back through time and give the antidote, or how did you think it was going to end?
as soon as Blue said, like, oh, I felt sick when I was like young, and I've never told anyone this, but I felt sick when I was like 5. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Okay.
And then I saw,
Down.
and then when Red was in like, I think it was like they were in prehistoric times, dinosaurs and stuff, and then someone else tackled them. I was like, oh, it's either Blue or it's Red back in time.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's just kind of, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, there's
with
only
time
how far.
travel.
Yeah, there's only like 2 characters in the book anyway.
I feel like, ironically, time travel is very limiting because, like, there's so many ways to make the reader confused, and there's so many ways to make there be plot holes.
Yeah.
But it's actually really limiting to write time travel stories. Even though you would think that it should open up a lot of free space.
Yeah, you have to follow a lot of rules. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I also think, yeah, what you just said is kind of how I usually feel about time travel stories. It's like once you realize how the plot's progressing and you realize the characters' motives, you can kind of predict how it's going to end because you know how time travel as a concept works. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that about just about every time travel book I've read. That's the case. Like, it's like, I guess I know how it's gonna end, and it usually almost, actually no, it's always ended the way I thought it was going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about it, Realm? Was it predictable for you, or were you surprised?
Yeah, I would say it was somewhat predictable. I think like Simple Brain Realm was just mad that they didn't kiss. When you were talking about like the differences between Legends of Lattes and this book before, I was just thinking like, oh, differences? Simple one. Well, they didn't kiss, so I didn't like it as much. You know, they literally like grazed the sky with each other's presence for like days on end, and then they just did, you know,
Right. I think
did that
that's
fun
fair.
stuff. But you know, I think it was, yeah, I think it was for the most part predictable. I just think it was caught in, I think it was like caught in its own way, because I was like, do you want to be a sci-fi book? Do you want to be a romance book? Do you want to be
Yeah,
a
do you wanna
book
be, like,
about the
didactic,
greater
or do you want
the
to be,
greater
like, prose?
themes of life? Or what were you saying, Toto?
Sorry, no, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
I don't know. So like I felt that it was just like confused within itself, and it just sort of pushed, like you said earlier today, like it sort of pushed itself forward. So it was predictable because it had no other path it could have gone on, personally.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about the ending, we'd be talking about like what the heck went on in the middle of, you know, everything.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's interesting because at the beginning, I think they just wanted to write a time travel story, and towards the end, they just wanted to write a love story, but they had to wrap it up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like an excerpt of poems
Yeah.
that is forced to have this time travel setting.
Yeah. They're
And
like
it's really not about the time travel. It's like really not about where they go in the time travel at all, or even about the war. Like that
not.
literally does not matter.
Yeah, it could have just been the pretty letters and then like the last part, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe they could have just died their tragic death. I don't
Or
know.
it could have just been like, I don't know, like letters written during the Civil War or something, like,
Yeah, you're right.
or something, just like some other human conflict.
Yeah,
The Time War really didn't add anything.
yeah.
You're right, it almost should have been an earlier time period, or just not time travel, because it would have made the plot holes of like what the heck were the giant agencies doing with their own agents sort of thing like happen. Like, oh, they literally don't have any technology to understand this, why would they?
Yeah.
You know,
It even kind of goes there too because Blue gets stuck in, not stuck, but she gets like placed on like an assignment in like a colonial area So she's just doing colonial things and writing to her lover. Like, I have a husband, but I really love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it went there, too. Like, but they're very, I don't know. It's weird because they were very self-aware in what they were writing, but it was just spiraling, and they were like, let's not stop, let's just keep it, the time travel going. Yeah.
I think in all these quotes I'm looking at, there's not a single one of that one chapter with the what was it? The wolf fighter beast eating the vine. I was like, what the hell is happening?
It's just stinking weird.
It's just really weird.
It is very weird. I don't find it.
It's just, there's a lot of, it needed more editing. It needed more editing.
It needed more editing.
Not for the prose, but for the setting, like where they are.
Save
those ideas for like another book.
It's true. At the same time, I think it's nice that they labeled it as sci-fi and did make it time travel, just because it is so, it's very lyrical and it's really
True. And it's
beautiful.
Unique.
And a lot of people that would not read, that are not going to read like literary fiction and things like that, they wouldn't pick books up that would have prose like this. But they're going to pick up This Is How You Lose the Time War because it's sci-fi. So then, I don't know, it's broadening the horizons.
It's true.
Yeah, I think this also set off a series of books. Not series, but not like series as in like a book series, but like more literary sci-fi. Like sci-fi is used as a plot device, but it's telling like human or very simple stories. Which
is honestly kind of a return.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it is, and I kind of like that. That you're right. That it's just them falling in love and writing love letters. That's the whole plot.
Now, that actually brings up a question I want to ask you guys.
Sure.
Do you think it deserves a sequel? And do you actually want it to have a sequel?
Oh, absolutely not. I think the book ended in a fine place.
I would read it, but I think it's totally fine where it is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of this one, give a memory called Empire. Another sequel.
Another book.
That book, I think, was better than this one. That had a better lesbian love story and a better like paced world.
Yeah, and the prose is beautiful in that those two books too. Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Alright.
How do you feel, Realm? Would you read a sequel? Do you want a sequel?
I just want to see them be together.
You just want them to kiss?
I am so peeved that they did this. I mean, it was cool. It was like, oh my god, like, you know, the future that the past that I saved helped me in the future escape, and now they're escaping to find each other. But like, god damn it, I want them to find each other.
I want them to find each other. I understand.
Go watch Steins Gate. Steins Gate is literally time travel romance.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I think that one is more understandable than this one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's I didn't realize this, but I've read 3 time travel books this year until I thought about it now. And this one, it makes the least sense for it to be time travel.
How dare.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ironic that Realm is the one who wants the lesbians to kiss, and this time I'm just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. They could, I mean, they didn't really kiss. It was like, I'm transferring an antidote to you while you're biting me.
Yeah. And a child.
You had a child, so I wouldn't say that's kissing, yeah. That was just medicine
That's
transfer.
the problem. I need to make a smooch.
Medicine transfer is different, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I understand your Yeah.
Can I read another quote?
Oh yeah.
The top rated quote on Goodreads.
Oh sure.
I love you, I love you, I love you. I'll write it in waves, in skies, in my heart. You'll never see, but you will know. I'll be all the poets. I'll kill them all and take each one's place in turn. Every time love is written in all the strands, it will be to you. Like, that's cute. But also kind of morbid. I'm going to kill all of the poets ever and replace them
with you.
Yeah, and rewrite all their poems, but it'll be about you.
Yeah.
That's a little yandere right there. That's like extra yandere.
Yeah.
It is, but they don't know any better, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it's like I said with the young in love, like it's a pure, hot, fiery passion that like, you know, can either be shriveled up just as fast or will continue burning hot as long as it lasts.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say this is kind of like sci-fi Romeo and Juliet.
It kind of was, yeah. And I think I remember there's a quote like time travel, or sorry, there's like a kind of time travel that's in letters, isn't there? So I think perhaps they were thinking letters are time travel. I guess they are time capsule.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you ever meet them, that'd be a great question to bring up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A good question to bring up. It's true. It's
Hopefully,
true.
I wouldn't have to see the answer with seal entrails, but you know,
Yeah.
pick your battles, right?
I also can imagine if I read this in like high school, like never having dated anyone and being like, oh, they love each other so much, they went through time to find each other. I would eat it up, you know?
True.
Like, yeah, at a different time and place, it would be like, this is like the best book ever. It's so romantic.
This is I'm 14 and this is deep.
Yeah.
territory.
Oh no!
But
No.
at the same time, I think there's a lot of writing and references here that like a 14-year-old would not get.
It's
It is
true.
written very intelligently. Like it's not like they write it kind of pretentiously, but like there are references to things that
Yeah.
like you would not get.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that was the fail of the Time War.
Okay. Star and Slug ratings?
Yeah, Star and Slug's ratings.
Star is subjective.
Yeah, Star
Star is your rating. Slug is recommending.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah,
I thought Slug was subjective.
Slug is we're recommending
Star
it to others.
subjective.
Are we gonna
That's where the
recommend it to
stars.
Slug? Like, yeah,
We're the stars, so that's
it's
all
stars.
right.
Unless you don't want to be a star realm.
I am a star. That's who I am.
It's who I am.
Really, I'm a fallen star.
Yeah, I know.
My star rating, I think I'll give this book like a 5 stars out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it as much as a lot of the other books we've read.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I had to listen to it twice to get what was going on, kind of was like not the best. But also, I did enjoy reading it the second time, and I picked up a lot more the second time. Slug rating, I will give this a 4. I will say, like, if you are really into this concept, like everything we've talked about so far, go and read it. Otherwise, go look up some quotes from it. I look forward to what the authors have to say and write in the future because their prose is excellent. But this book is very confusing. And unless you want to read it like twice like I did, or like even 3 times to really get what's going on, I'm not sure if it is the right book for you. Unless you, like that's your style. Like you'd like to like hyper analyze and like read books multiple times.
Mm-hmm. There are those reads.
Yeah, this is definitely not a book for everyone.
Yeah. This is definitely a book for someone, but definitely it's like less. It's not. It doesn't necessarily have the wide appeal.
Yeah.
Do you want to go next, Realm, or do you want to go last?
Did you give both ratings, Toto? Oh yeah. You said
Yeah.
5 and 4. Never mind. Sorry, I just blipped. Star rating, I would give it probably like 5.5, 6. I
Mhm.
think the writing carried it a lot, but it also made what seems to be a stitched together plot even muddier. It's very, very loose, very we'll just throw it in and see what sticks sort of thing. Which
So true.
I give him my own track record. I'm not one to judge, honestly. That's just how I go with things. But if you're telling me to like, hey, like understand this book, it took me a little while. Like like I said, I only understood it halfway through the book, and then I had to watch other reviews, and every time I watched something else, they brought up a new point that I was just like, did I read the same book? Because they're hammering and hauling at something particular. I'm like, did I just like check out at Seal and Trails or what? It just like I don't know. It didn't leave a huge impression in my head. I just left a lot of questions. So, objective, nah, I go 5. I like sci-fi. I like the writing. It's not I don't read very many of those types of books. So it was a nice change of pace. I dig it. I would not have somebody read it off the bat. I would really kind of not grill them, but like I would just tell them like, hey, like what do you like? What in particular? I would have them, instead of going for like a jack of all trades sort of book like this, I would maybe have them dedicate one aspect of what they like to a particular. This one has it right down pat.
Yeah.
Before recommending this one.
Yeah, that's actually a really good transition, Ethan.
Heyo.
Yeah, because I think my star rating is like it's like a 7, and the reason why is because it is epistolary, and I'll eat it up. If it's written in letters, I just like it. I just like reading things like that. It almost doesn't even matter what's in the letters, but the plus, I just really like it. And this, but I guess the plus is that the letters are written very beautifully. The prose is really nice. I think, I would gain a lot more understanding if I had read it twice like Toto did, because it is a little confusing. I don't know. From a personal standpoint, I did enjoy reading it, but I wasn't gripped. But I have also, I don't know. It's a 7 because it's written well and it's epistolary. That's from me. Dear Trips, Atlanta stinks. Haha, poo poo butt. Sincerely, thanks. I eat it up. I love that. Haha, poo poo butt. It's great.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, and so this had been on like my you should read this book for a long time, and I was like, it's time travel. It's short. It's sapphic. Let's read it. That's why I picked it. I think from a Slug standpoint, I think it's like a 5. This is not something I would widely recommend to people. I would recommend it to avid readers or sci-fi fans or people like me that like epistolary novels.
This book could work really well as like a play, like an abstract play.
Yeah.
Yes, especially like I'm all about learning visually, and that would be like a whole new experience. That'd be really cool to
Definitely
see.
not a movie. I don't think a movie would work, but a play where they can do soliloquies for the letters.
Like monologues. Yeah, because they were very influenced by Shakespeare. So yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's not. If I had read this before, I probably wouldn't have picked it as the pick. But
no, I'm happy to explore new genres and read new things that I would not normally read.
Yeah,
it's excellent that you read this.
Yeah, and I do think, this book just still has the same thing I think about every novella. Like, they're too short. Like, they don't have enough time to flesh themselves out. So I'm always left like, huh? Most of the time.
I like my slow burning romances.
I know. They're beautiful.